This is Sonia Schreier-Norris, Program Manager for Ploud at the Library of Michigan. Thank you for joining me for a short Ploud-specific tutorial on accessibility for users with disabilities. You'll find that much of what makes your site more accessible for your entire audience also makes you friendlier to search engines. Accessibility is good practice. There are a couple of things to know right off the bat. While there are things you need to learn, nothing that I'm going to talk about today is difficult. You can absolutely learn these practices and apply them. Also, it's just the right thing to do. If you walk away from this tutorial thinking, wow, that's not so hard, but I've already got a lot of items on my site that are inaccessible and I don't have time to fix them, I would encourage you to make accessibility a going forward practice. Enfold Systems is committed to accessibility, and they've done a lot to build accessible templates and give you the tools to keep them up. Here are just a couple of examples. For one thing, the Slate and Hemingway themes have a colored film over the banner area. Some people don't like that, but it guarantees enough color contrast for all site visitors to be able to read the name of your library. Also, Enfold will be updating the color contrast for all schemes in an upcoming release to ensure greater accessibility. I'm not going to talk about every aspect of accessibility today, just a few key points that can go a long way toward making your site a friendlier place. I guarantee you that if you follow this advice, your site will be more accessible and your visually impaired users will find it easier to use. Folks with visual disabilities use a variety of text-to-speech programs to interpret a website. And the good news is that almost everything you do to make your site accessible for them makes your site more discoverable by search engines. This work will improve your rankings. These are the best practices we'll be reviewing today. Alt tags and title text. Use of proper markup language. Use of tables in text. Embedding images of text. Rewriting typical web speak to play nicely with accessibility software. Using the accessibility checker before uploading Office docs. And PDFs. Don't worry, I'll explain all of these in greater detail. Headings are important because a screen reader pays attention to structure exactly the way someone who can see does. They know that the biggest words on the page are the most important, followed by the next biggest words. But what a screen reader sees is the heading structure. H1, the largest text, also known as your header, should contain your most important message. H2, H3, etc., your subheadings, should contain a logical descending order of organization for your page, with supporting text in between the headers. It's just like the way you learn to outline notes in school, the same principle, and search engines love it. The next guideline is not to embed images with text. That means having a picture of text on your page rather than the text itself. This is especially true of newsletters or flyers that aren't created in Adobe or InDesign or another piece of software designed to display text. I've seen many a flyer embedded on a library website, Ploud or otherwise, that is nearly unreadable. Don't do this to your visitors. Tables, except when presenting numerical data, are usually a bad idea. Ploud has several other options if you really need boxes on your page. One is cover pages, which are covered in another tutorial. You'll also want to be aware of the Align feature, which neatly aligns text around an image and often makes tables unnecessary. There is some background metadata you'll want to pay attention to as well, especially title text. For images, this is the text that a user sees when hovering over an image. It complements alternative text, which is what a screen reader user hears. Use both for images. For links, you also want to use title text, but in this case, it should be a little more descriptive. A good example of strong title text for a link is external link to IMLS, which lets your user know they're going to be leaving your site. Next, we're going to practice writing alt text. That's alternative text. Again, this is what a screen reader user hears. Alt text should be as brief as possible. Avoid getting wordy or repeating information that is available in nearby text on the page. Also, keep in mind that writing alt text is an art, not a science. Let's take a look at our first example. In this image, you have a room full of children at a library program. Appropriate alt text could be children playing with animal masks. It's that simple. You don't need to talk about how many children there are, or what they're wearing, or the types of mask. Here's another. Appropriate alt text could read, author Stephen King at a book signing. Once again, you don't need to be more specific. Our third example is out of Harry Potter. For this one, I would simply say, actress Emma Watson on an ALA Read poster. Brief is important, so I would not go on to say that she's the actress that played Hermione Granger. I'd just provide her actual name. Here's another example of maintaining an accessible site, and it's pretty simple. Use the text overlays to convey textual information rather than embedding words in the images in your carousel tiles. Screen readers can't interpret the text in an image. All they get is the text overlay. Use that feature to make your images meaningful to website visitors who can't see them. Screen readers interpret link text as the most important on the page and read it separately, out of order. Search engines also consider link text to be more important than non-linked text, so every step you take to make your link text meaningful, the better you are going to rank on the web and the more accessible your site will be. I'm going to show you 3 examples of reworking typical web speak that will give you practical examples of these guidelines. Your screen reader users will appreciate your efforts, and Google will reward you with greater visibility. These are the keys to proper linking convention. 1. Screen readers take links on a web page and read them separately, out of context, from the rest of the page. You don't want to use "click here" as link text. Don't repeat the same link text on a page to direct visitors to different places. Don't display hyperlinks, embed them in text. So let's practice. Practice paragraph 1. Here's some typical web speak. Registration is required for the Buttons to Clown program on Saturday, November 5th. Click here for registration information. You can also read more about Buttons on his website. A screen reader user is going to hear, link, click here, link, his website. There's not enough context for them to know what they're going to get when they click on those links. Instead, you could say, registration is required for the Buttons to Clown program on Saturday, November 5th. Buttons has a great website. A screen reader user is going to hear, link, registration, link, Buttons has a great website. That helps them decide if they want to click on those links. Let's try again. Movie night at the library will be this Saturday. We'll be showing Titanic, and you can read more about the making of the movie here. Popcorn will be provided by Celebration Cinema. You can go to their website to say thanks for the snacks. Once again, a screen reader user will hear, link, here, link, website. Instead, you could say, movie night at the library will be this Saturday. Read about the making of the movie Titanic. Popcorn will be provided. You can thank Celebration Cinema for the snacks on their website. This makes much clearer link text. Link, read about the making of the movie Titanic. Link, thank Celebration Cinema for the snacks. The last example is very simple. A screen reader sometimes reads out links. They might hear, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Meijer, http://meijer.com, for donating cookies for the summer reading program. Instead, I would encourage you to embed your link text, and then they would hear, we'd like to thank our sponsor Meijer for donating cookies for the summer reading program, and when they're listening to the links, they would simply hear, link, Meijer. Next step is to talk about documents you may upload to your site. If you upload a Microsoft Office document, such as Word or Excel, Office will allow you to check for accessibility errors and give you step-by-step instructions for fixing them. In Word, go to File, Info, check for issues, and select Accessibility. This is a great habit to get into. PDF documents are another kettle of fish, I won't lie to you. You need special software and a lot of stick-to-itiveness to commit to posting accessible PDF documents. Many libraries don't make it to this level of accessibility, but that doesn't mean that you can't if you really take this aspect of web design to heart. PDF documents that are mainly text are pretty easy to work with. It's when you get into images that they become more difficult. This is especially true of flyers. The best thing to do is learn how to create an accessible product before you ever convert it to PDF. This is easier or harder depending on what software you use. So in short, use alt text for all images, use proper markup language within the editor, use proper linking conventions, and evaluate and remediate your Word and PDF documents before posting them. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short video about creating accessible websites with Ploud. I hope you've learned some takeaways that you can apply to your own site. This project was made possible in part by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Have a great day.